Good morning. Today's practice is going to be one around back to the basics, and we're specifically, surprise, surprise, working with the leg bone in the hip socket. So if I bring Stan over here, you'll see the bottom part of him, and you'll see how the leg bone connects into this hip socket. And more often than not, when I'm working with people who have SI joint issues, QL issues, piriformis issues, the leg bone is not moving well in the hip socket. And a big piece of what I teach people is how to get the quality of that movement back again. Because when you can improve the quality of this movement, then so much can change, because there's 6 ranges of motion in this leg bone in the hip socket. There's 6 ranges there. If those ranges, if you don't have them, you're going to find other ways to compensate. Now, compensating is in and of itself is not a bad thing. It's just that you're overutilizing other muscles, other tissue, other bracing patterns in order to get a job done. And in time, you're going to lose the ability to do it. Do you know? Like you're going to get pooped out because you're asking parts of your body to do something they're not designed to do. So when we can focus in on moving the body part the way that it's meant to move and improve that, then you're going to have greater efficiency overall, way less effort overall, and way more energy, and you'll just have a whole lot less pain. So the fundamental thing here is, another piece that I want to really, really drive home is that I talk and repeat about a lot of the stuff over and over and over and over again. And one of the big reasons is because there's a lot of noise out there around how crappy people's bodies are as they age. And it's a message that I get that's being hammered out there. So I'm just the other side of that message to say there's a way to help yourself be stronger and mobile and have less pain as you get older. And it's not even as you get older, just like period. And so I'm just this other voice that's repeating that other message, that there is a different possibility. It's not even a message of hope, although I know people will interpret the message that way. It's a message that like your body can change and your tissue can change. And so I'm helping you improve the internal filter that you have to recognize and feel for what's going on in your body. Okay? So let's take a look at movement patterns here. So we're gonna be focusing on just a few movements here so that you can experience how your leg bone is moving in your pelvis. We need to have a ball, a strap, and a theraband. Okay? So what we're gonna begin with here is we're gonna begin with a movement that I think I learned at one time in a Pilates class. But I want you to start on your back if you can. I'm going to be up here just to be up here so I can see you, or not see you, but I can see the screen. We're going to start by taking the leg wide into rotation and then bringing the leg out. We're going to take the leg rotation and then bring the leg out. Now I'm on a sticky mat, so it's going to get sticky. So you're doing this. And what I want you to notice is how far your leg rotates before your pelvis moves. Now I know that there's a movement that looks exactly like this that has you move your pelvis and comes around. I know that it's there. That's not the intention of this particular way that we're doing this. Leg bone moves, rotation, and then out it goes. Yeah? So I want you to notice where your pelvis wants to move. And then move in that range only. Move in that range only. Okay, and then let's go to the other side and notice that. And then also notice where you want to grip and brace in other parts of your body. And then can you move in a range where your pelvis is quiet and where you're not gripping and bracing? Or at least the gripping and bracing is not going up. Okay, and then grab your ball. Let's bring it underneath our bums, and we're going to we're going to roll out on that hip. Just get a feel of that. Now, if this is too much for your wrists, then you can come onto your back like this and do the same thing, and just find some points there for you to experience. Okay? Just roll out your hip. Now the point of this is just helping you grow the awareness of what's going on in your hip and feel what is there to feel. Okay, good. And then let's go to the other side and explore that. So you're really discovering, and I know sometimes it can be a real pain in the butt, to use a metaphor, to discover what you're discovering about your movement. I appreciate that. You know, I totally get it. And I want to hold your hand and help you walk down that path. Because the more you can become aware of about your movement, the more you can change. Because you can't change a darn thing if you're not aware of it, right? Okay, so now let's come back. And now let's do this. Let's see what's happened. Now you're going to do this leg bone rotation in the socket. Now I want you to notice the quality of the movement. The quantity, the range may have actually grown, but I really want to direct your eye to the quality of the movement. And the reason for that is because it's pain reduction is not correlated to increases of range or increases of strength. That is evidence-based. The rehab world knows that. What I've seen in my practice is that when we can change the quality of the movement, that's when pain reduces. So that's why I focus on quality of movement. I don't focus on a bunch of variety of like, let's try a whole bunch of different exercises. That comes as a natural result of moving better. Yeah? Okay, so now let's come into ankle to knee. So onto your back. And let's bring your leg up to the sky. Rotate that leg bone and bring the ankle onto the knee. Okay? And then just move that leg bone in your hip socket. Front of your hip is quiet. Feel the back of your hip. Watch that the other hip flexor doesn't get involved. Good. All right, let's do the other side. Leg comes up, rotate it. Now the idea is that your pelvis, this whole time your pelvis is quiet. It's so easy for that pelvis to move. And so you need to be aware of whether your leg bone's moving in your pelvis or whether your pelvis is moving relative to your spine. Like this is a huge piece for people who are wanting to recover from QL issues, SI joint issues, sciatica, piriformis. Okay, we're going to come back onto the ball again. And we're going to, this time, if you've got the available range, take the ankle onto the knee and then come onto the outside of your hip. Now, if you don't have that range, just come onto the outside of the hip. And if being on your wrists is too much, then you can just come on, find the points on your hip that are a little bit tender. Be gentle with yourself. And come on the outside of that hip. So like my whole MO here and why I do these videos is I want you to really know, I want you to know that pain can reduce. Pain, so much pain can be eradicated. So much. And I've heard people say, I'm going to have the best day. I'm going to have the best day that's possible. And I'm like, or it's like a professional will say, they're like, that's all they've got. Like, they're just going to have a lot of pain. I'm like, I just don't agree. So much can change. So much can change. We have no idea the possibility of bandwidth. We have no idea the possibility of what's possible in terms of what can change. So that's why I do these videos. Yeah. Is because I want you to know that if you practice this, even these tiny little things that I'm doing for 20 minutes to 30 minutes a day, you'll notice a change. Now, granted, I can't see you, you can't see me, I can't put hands on you. Ankle comes up, rotate the leg bone onto the leg. Let's do that. Figure 4, let's see what happens. Good, and notice the quality of the movement. If anything is different, Lovely. Okay, now let's take your theraband. Ankle comes onto the knee. Theraband comes around the leg. And now move that leg bone in the hip socket. I've had so many clients come to me who were told that they had to live with what they had. It's a bunch of baloney. So much lies under our awareness. So much. And so if you can have someone who can gently help you uncover the stuff you're not feeling or you're not aware of, notice where the mental state comes in, you've got someone who can help you with that. It's amazing what change is possible. Good. All right, let's go to the other side. So when you're using this theraband and you're rotating that leg bone out, the front of the hip, you're not pistoning with the front of the hip or the opposite hip. You're utilizing the outer of the hip, the back of your hip, to push into that theraband. But just think about your leg bone rotating. That's all I want you to think about. Leg bone rotating in your hip socket. Move it in a range that doesn't increase pain. Okay, and then let that go. Okay, so now from here, we're going to take the strap. And with the strap, you'll take it on your foot. And you can put it in a few different places on the bottom of your foot. I find that on any given day, I just find that it kind of finds its like clunk, its space. And so sometimes it's closer to the heel. Sometimes it's closer to the forefoot. It just depends. And then just let your arms rest back. Hand is easy. And then bring that leg across your body. And watch when you bring the leg across that the opposite leg doesn't cross as well. So it's not this, right? It's not this. It's the leg just comes straight across. One thing that can happen is if you don't have pure adduction, or it's more like a horizontal flexion. It's like a combination of adduction, rotation, the movement we're doing here. But sometimes you can add a little bit more rotation, external rotation. So watch, like look at your heel and see if your heel starts to move. And then trace it all the way back down to your hip and go, oh, look at that, my hip's moving. So make sure that hip is moving straight across your body. Good. And then bring that leg down. And then the other side. And then bring the leg across your body. Good. And then bring that leg down. Lovely. Okay, coming on up. And let's come into a sitting position now. And just now notice yourself in sitting and notice yourself in vertical here. And be aware if there's anything different. And when I'm saying different, again, I'm asking about quality. Now you might notice your pain has reduced somewhat, but you also may just notice a lightness or another word that you might use. But just there's something a little bit different in terms of the feeling that's there. When we can pay attention to that subtlety, to that nuance of feeling, then our movement and our exercise starts to transform from just being this movement or exercise into something very sacred, into an art form, into something that's really quite beautiful. Because there's a connection between our inner and our outer. Yeah? And so while you might be a weightlifter and lifting heavy weights feels really good, like I just had my first weightlifting session at the boutique gym that I go to yesterday for the first time since March. It's awesome. But my interest isn't just lifting weight to lift weight. There's a sacredness in the movement pattern and what that provides all of me. There's a beauty in the movement and in the feeling. And then that bubbles over into many areas of your life. Now, if this is something that is of interest for you in terms of whether you want to really dig into more of these concepts, whether you're a teacher or whether you're a student, then you're going to really, really, really like what I have to say next. The Therapeutic Yoga Intensive, which used to be taught only live, is going online this fall. So if you live in a different province in Canada, if you live in a different country, and the borders have been a limiting factor for you coming to learn with me, that's no longer the case. We will be online, 3 different sessions this fall, and I will post a link down below so you can read about it. But if you want to dig into this for your own self and your own body, as well as to work with another person, come join me this fall. I would love to learn with you. So bring your hands together. Breathing in with ease. And out with gratitude. Have a really, really great day. Enjoy your body. See you tomorrow.